Ministry is hard, man.
Sometimes.
We have had a lot of, as our church has grown, we've had a lot of opportunities to go places and to do things. We've also had a lot of ministries come through our doors. And one of the things that we are very cognizant of is, we'll call it today's culture of musicians. We'll call it the green room culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's have a conversation about church growth, about the challenges of church growth, the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with the green room. I understand the green room. Let me just start. Let's start here.
Yeah.
You and I have probably been in places where they invite me to preach or they invite you to sing, lead worship somewhere. I don't know anybody here.
100%.
Me going out and shaking hands and hugging necks or whatever, like nobody knows me. They don't know me. I don't know them. I understand the green room in that setting.
Yeah.
Of, hey, this is a spot for you to hang out with people that you know, that you have relationship with.
Or like a group of people that the church leadership, this is
who I want you to
that you
spend
can-
time
yeah,
with. Right. I
you
want you
can
to
meet.
invest in them
Yeah.
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. So I
Yeah.
totally get the reason for a green room. We've had versions of green rooms around here, and now it's not the best in the world, but it is what it is. But like we understand the reason for that. We're not anti green room.
Yeah.
But we also understand the cultural confusion that comes from the green room. 100%. So let's talk about green room culture inside of the church and why ours now is what it is now compared to what it has been. Let's talk through the phases of what it had been and what it is now and all that sort of stuff. Let's talk here right now first.
Where we're at right now.
Yeah, let's talk through the phases. Let's talk where it kind of launched, how it started, what it's gone, the ins and outs of it to where it is now.
From my time here, I remember not too long after I got here, we had kind of opened up the cafe.
Yep.
And that was kind of our stopping point in between services or in between worship sets sometimes, is we would notice that people would linger in there longer than they should in between, like after worship was over. There was kind of this, hey, stop and get coffee, get a snack.
Yeah, y'all
restroom.
would come out almost backstage, and then y'all would, instead of y'all were supposed to walk around and go into the service. Yeah. But y'all would walk around and kind of hang out in the cafe.
There was a long pause in the cafe area sometimes for some people.
Way too long for some people.
And so, that was phase, kind of 3690 phase. We never had a green room there for the worship team. We did this thing for a little bit with all of our teams where we set up a area in our conference room that was kind of a, hey, on Sunday morning, stop by and get yourself a snack. Yeah. But we never had a green room there. We moved here. And then we kind of said, hey, let's do something nice. We had, ample space when we first moved here.
When we first moved here, we didn't know how we would ever use all of the space that we had. This is the most giant building ever. How are we going to use all this space?
The room we're in right now, we thought, it did nothing for a year and a half.
Maybe even longer than that.
Maybe probably longer than that, yeah. Yeah, there was so...
sat here empty. It held cushions at one point.
For the chairs.
Literally just a storage
that's
room
right.
at one point.
I remember the first 2 weeks I was here. We were 2 weeks into moving in and having church, and I was still discovering rooms that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, for real. And so in that season, the green room was they're attached to the back of the stage.
Yep.
There's a little door that leads straight out to it, which is where we still set up now. If you have a conference or big events or whatever, that would still be the green room that we set up now.
Yeah. And we kind of set some boundaries in place, right off the bat. Still had some, lingering issues, and just said, hey, we started having those very open, honest conversations that we've had. For sure. That, pastors sat through 2 of our worship sets and worshiped, gone all in with us. It's our responsibility to go all in with him.
I love this conversation. Okay, so let's stay here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because what you know about green rooms is I've done my job. Now I'm waiting here until you tell me to do more of my job.
Yeah.
And that is a dangerous mindset in the green room culture, that the only reason you're useful to the church is because your gift is out on stage playing.
100%. I think, and I'm not trying to keep Tony out of this conversation.
No, I mean, we'll get to his aspect of this, but this is where you're gonna bring value.
This is a hot take.
Hot take, okay.
I think this is where we get into ministry and prostitution.
Yeah.
To where we allow ourselves to be, and this is on us as worship people, and as we allow ourselves to be prostituted for our gifts.
Yeah.
And instead of being connected to the house and being,
because you don't. Okay, so let's break that down.
Yeah.
Okay, so that the next statement you're about to make makes sense. It's like my wife, who I love and I want relationship with her, saying, no, the only reason I'm doing this is because you're paying me to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
Where the church is actually loving you and wanting a relationship with you, but the person being paid is saying, no, I don't want that from you.
And
I actually just want this.
Added clarity, we don't pay anybody on stage. They're all volunteers.
Right.
And so we're literally allowing ourselves as worship people.
Not that we're opposed to paying anyone.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they are all amazing and worthy to.
This is something they offer and
this is
allow
a gift that they offer, right,
to the church. But because of that, it's like this transaction that takes place between you and your gift and the church.
Yeah.
And it's like this offering that you give it in this moment, instead of it being a cash transaction. It's this gift of your talent.
Yeah.
You give it, and then I get a break now.
Yeah.
And instead of being invested in what the local church has to give.
Where for me, what you said that's kind of started this conversation was, for me, I'm there at Run Through worshiping
100%.
with you. I'm like literally there in the front worshiping with you, just like I'm in service. I'm first service, I'm worshiping with you. Second service, I'm worshiping with you.
And a part of the planning processes and making sure.
Right. I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it. And so you're telling your team, hey, Pastor has done this for us. The least we can do is get back out into the service and participate in his.
And it's not even about, it is to me, it's about honoring you and all of me, knowing all of those stages that you're a part of. Yeah. But for them, it's not so much even as about honoring you as that it should be to me, as this is what we do. This is as a church, like we do this together.
I love it.
There's so many parts of it that to me are shocking and that are okay. I never, I've been in green rooms, but my parents were never like that. Yeah. And so,
So then that one outgrew that one. We needed the space. So we're doing Starting Point in there and things of that nature. So then we moved to a little, you had a huge office downstairs. We moved you upstairs, gave you a nice window view.
Praise the Lord.
You're the only one with a nice window view like that, right?
I am, and I'm cognizant of that and thankful for it.
Yeah, and so we moved you up here to a nice window view, took your office, kind of turned it into a green room. Yeah. And in that stage of development, to me, is where we first started getting our, even here, green room culture. Yeah. Oh, no, this is a thing even here.
Yeah.
For me, we've had concerts here where, that makes, Lord knows, that makes perfect sense. They come off the truck. Yeah, they're not shaking hands with everybody. That, it just doesn't make sense.
Tasha Layton came out into the foyer.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah, Jason Crabb did.
Jason Crabb came out there and stayed out there till everybody was gone. Those people, I have a level of respect for those people because that's how I am. I'm that guy, but I don't expect anybody else. It's not expected.
It's a bonus.
Right.
It's so thankful for them to come out, but that makes sense. When you're asked to go speak at a conference where you know nobody, you're there to bring your wisdom, to bring the word of God. It makes sense. When we got a guest speaker who knows, it makes sense. I understand that completely. For me, not to say that it's always wrong, because if it fits, great. But when the local church that is built on relationships inside of teams and outside in the congregation, when the local church adopts that into their way of doing things, it can be problematic. And as we begin to see a little bit in ours. So green rooms totally fit in certain spaces. But
so we started having moments, just transparency, full transparency right here. We started having the moments of trying to dodge church, not immoral conversation, but what I call unrighteous conversation. It wasn't immoral. It was just like, yeah, exactly.
A little too comfortable.
It was like, why would you say like how are we comfortable enough to have these conversations? We started having some of those he said, she said, murmuring, backbiting type stuff, and you're like, what is happening right now?
You're like, why aren't you in church right now?
Yeah, and that was a part of it, because we had run through at 7:30. By 8:15 we're done. It's a 45-minute window. That there's nothing to do, and so when we had coffee and snacks, and then big couches in there and a couple of chairs, and so there was room for everybody on the worship team to be in there all at one time, and just noticed that with all of those people in there at one time, number one, which is a big thing for me, it's kind of Pastor Tony already alluded to it, but we are a relational church. It's what we do. We love community, and our worship team was just kind of secluded and not a part of that. And I don't like that. I was never in there much, because I do enjoy, shaking hands and seeing people that, are new and have been coming here for many years. And so I just enjoy that. I've always, tried to be a part of that. And then at 8:15 or 8:45, 15 minutes till service, we always meet for prayer. Yeah. And so we all gathered in that spot, and, it's just, to me, that place should be a place that we are able to prepare our hearts and our minds for church, instead of allowing distractions in the room because of conversations that shouldn't have taken place, or because of people just being people, and being edgy, I guess you could say. And
yeah, it's so interesting. This is not a knock on you or your team or anyone, but it is so interesting that there's one group of people, and it's really easy to see why. Hey, we were here since 7:00 this morning. We are going to. You're one of the few teams, kids ministry, very similar to you, but you're one of the few teams that from 7 to 12:30, y'all are here, y'all are serving that entire time. So it's really easy to see why you want to create a special place for them, but also in creating a special place for them, the times that they're in the special place is the time where special things could be happening out in the foyer in 100%. Relationship building or whatever 100%. It may be. So if it's one of those things where for a guest speaker before service and after service, you have this green room where you're hanging out, that if it's that way for a band where it's pre-practice and post-practice, we're just going to hang around and chill in here, that makes total sense. But whenever it's taking away and actually hurting the community of the church, then it's not a healthy process.
Absolutely. And it's hurting those people.
Hurting them, for sure.
And honestly, I mean, we look at this with Simeon's team, with the worship team, because that's in a lot of churches, in a lot of places, the worship team, they do that. But I mean, you can fall into that even in other places. I mean, even our media team, our online streaming team up here, they're in a box. Yeah, they've got a big old giant window in front of them, but they kind of fell into that same thing. Caleb had to kind of clean house where, during church, you're up there preaching and you've got some guys up there doing their jobs, doing their cameras and operating and all that stuff. But then you had other camera guys who they were done with their job. They had, filmed during worship, who then were up there sitting around on their phones, and Caleb had to have a heart-to-heart with, a lot of those teams. So it's not only the green rooms. Anywhere, if you're not careful, that's secluded can be a green room.
So we took our green room then. Now we have a a hospitality space for them.
Yeah.
Where we have a nice little area set up where it has throat coat and teas and, all of the things that they need that you don't have to have in the, what is it?
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, yeah, and Lay's potato
Carson.
chips and, all the things that you need that the cafe doesn't have to have on stock for you, that y'all can go back there and create and make your own specialized things.
Yeah.
But one of the things we try to do is push away the chairs from those, the sitting. I want you to have a hospitality space.
Yeah.
If you need to take time, stand here and sip some honey and some tea, go for
sure.
it. But
this is not a stopping spot.
This is not where we stop, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
How's that? What's been the difference in your team having that?
It's not a stopping spot. I mean, it's not an area that causes pause.
Good.
And one good thing for me is I get to pass by it every time I walk off stage.
Yeah.
Because I walk around the long way. Yeah. And so because I walk that way, I get to see who's staying there, who's talking, what's being said. We'll grab a snack or grab a, throat lozenge or, a bottle of water and then walk, and they'll say, hey, that was a great job or, something like that. But, one thing that I like about it is it doesn't allow for them to walk away from the service. Mm-hmm. You have to be quiet back there. You can't just talk or say whatever. You're still in the room. And so
They're
it's
just
not.
So for those of you who have been at our church, it's just behind the LED wall.
Yeah.
Is where the space is.
Yep.
So you have to be cognizant of what's happening.
Yeah.
You can't. There were times at 3690 where y'all would walk out and laugh and joke and cut up, and somebody would scream, and you're like, I guess they didn't know we could hear them right outside the door right there. So you have to be aware of what's happening. Service is happening right now.
Absolutely.
You can't just tell a crazy joke and yell and scream.
Yeah. And thankfully, like, everything that we need is back there minus a bathroom. So if somebody's going to the restroom, they can just continue on and know where the restrooms are at. But, I've noticed over the last, 3-4 months that we've been doing it this way, that people are, number one, getting back into listen to the sermon, unless they do go to the restroom. And I understand, we all understand that stuff happens. You got to go sometimes, but it's not a place of pause. It's not a bunch of people going into a back room and hanging out and waiting for their time to come out. Because I don't text out cues. I don't say, hey, everybody, it's time to go. Our cue is when I get up from up top. If they're paying attention, they'll know when to get up.
Yeah, I tell you the cue.
Yeah.
So I'll say, hey, listen, we're going to tell this. Yeah, during run through, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to tell this story, and then I'm going to read the scripture. Y'all start coming down then. So all of them hear that. They know that they're looking for that as well.
And I have your sermon notes, and so most of the time I can look at them and say, okay, we may need to move. Like this past Sunday, I saw where you wanted us to kind of sing at, and I was like, he said this scripture. I was like, but if we want to get there in time to be ready for that scripture, let's move here. And so that's kind of what we did this past week. And I like it being back behind the stage because if somebody needs to grab something going on stage or off stage, it's right there. It's not out of the way too much. But it's worked out really good for us.
Let's talk the culture of missing church. Okay? Tony is the king. He has trained my son to be the prince of this. If there's a problem outside of church, Tony's going to it. Caleb's going to it. Y'all are going to fix the problem. And if you're in church, you're going to be working something, doing something. I know your heart with this. You and I have talked about this many times. Let's talk about we talked about this on campuses recently, where typically the person that you're going to find to run the media in the campus is somebody that's maybe not as engaged in the service.
Yeah.
They're looking for a disconnect. Let's talk about the people who are seemingly disconnected from the service?
This is hard because I'm a minister of the gospel. I love church. But if you have somebody in a role that has an outlet that doesn't love church, it can very easily be a dangerous role where they can truly disconnect. I mean, if you follow me on Sunday morning, during service, I'm 18 different places during service because I've got the production team down at the bottom. Then I make my way up to the top to check on Caleb and his team. Then I make my way back here in the podcast room to check on the online sound guy. And then I'm going through and sitting over there up top to make sure everything's good. I try to always sit somewhere where I am accessible to go address whatever needs to be addressed. But I try my best to be intentional about, okay, it's service time, it's either worship time or whatever point in the service we are. I love church and I want to be there. But if you don't have that heart, I think a lot of people would feel like if you don't have that heart, here's the perfect place for you because you get to escape it. And for
honestly,
production people,
I've been really impressed with you, like even on Wednesday nights recently with prayer. Like you're down there in the front with us. You've just told your people, leave me alone. This is my night just to dive in. Yeah. And I've been really impressed just watching you worship and watching you dive in those moments. And I think it's important for our people to see that side of you. Honestly, even for my son, he's Prince, like you're king. He's the prince of it. And, fighting for those moments for him of, Caleb, you've got to be in spiritual moments. Yeah. I understand what you do is spiritual, but I also need you to know how to operate in the altar and things of that nature that you learned that he has been able to observe, but may not be in those moments at times.
Our church being such a, we'll say, technologically advanced church, it's hard because that's been a part of church my whole life when there wasn't those, we'll call them distractions. They're ministry and we love them, but they can be distractions. So that's awesome. I love it. I've been a part of that my whole life. It wasn't until the last, let's say, 10, 15 years that these new things have came around. But for people coming up, like a Caleb, like my two sons, this is such a big part of church. Both my sons run cameras for Caleb. And, for my team, my leaders, I want Caleb, Clint, those guys who are leading teams in production. We have conversations frequently about being intentional, about taking a Sunday or 2 Sundays, having a rotation to where you're involved, having a Wednesday night. This is something that we were very intentional about with leaders.
Especially Wednesday night. We fought for Wednesday night to be,
and I'm still fighting that with some of mine. That take this time
because they will. We'll use Clint for example. Clint will be like, I'm not serving tonight, but the place that he worships and prays is
the next seat.
At the literally the step outside of the sound booth.
Yeah.
So that he's able to dive there if at any moment something's needed.
At some point, you have to do one of two things. Either trust your team enough to just step away, or just understand that you getting ministered to is important enough that even if you don't trust them, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Agree completely.
So 100%. I mean, even, I feel like all of us feel like our roles are spiritual. But even for me, like I feel like my role is very spiritual, and what we do is, a part of some of the most spiritual moments in our church, but even for me, like I have to find moments in my life that I am not doing stuff.
Agree completely. You took a Sunday off a few weeks ago, maybe. Seeing you in the front worship, it's just it's different.
Yeah.
That service is different for you.
100%.
Because you didn't have to be up there doing, you were able to be
absolutely
just sitting here. It was a Wednesday night that I didn't think I was going to be here. I actually the trip got canceled that I was going on, the ministry, whatever that I was doing got canceled. And so I was actually here that Wednesday. And so I didn't have a part in Wednesday night prayer. You had already planned it. And so Angie said, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to do this tonight? And I was like, Lord, no.
Yeah.
Bro, I just want to sit here and enjoy, prayer tonight. Like I'm good,
Yeah.
And so having those times to where it doesn't have to always be you or me, and we can just sit in the presence of God is so critical to our lives, to me, to our lives and to our spirits, because what people will say, like even for me, they'll say, you're in church all the time. Why would you be spiritually drained? You're constantly prepping. You're constantly, ministry's hard, man.
Yeah.
When you're doing this all the time, it is absolutely draining.
Yeah, and like you preached on Sunday, it becomes common.
It becomes common.
And it's not sacred. It's not holy unless you unless you force it to be within yourself and not allow it to be something that is common.
Yeah.
But that takes some stuff you got to work through to get to that place. Like it's not. I could go every Sunday and what I do be common, and nobody would really know.
Yeah.
Because it's when you allow it to be common within yourself, it only hurts you. Yeah. Like that's what it hurts.
When you're leading a team, it'll be the most important to you. And every step down, it becomes less important. And so if you want them to make it a priority, then you have to make it a priority to find that time.
What's the most unique drink you've ever had in a green room?
Oh, it was hot water, lemon, like actual like pieces of lemon in the hot water, and cayenne pepper and honey.
Okay.
And
it's for singers, like to help.
Singers, and
they just had a pot of it there.
No, somebody made a concoction of it and said, "Hey, if you're ever struggling with your voice, you need to try this." And they made me one because I had never tried it, and it was interesting. I love lemon, and I like hot water, and I wasn't sure about the cayenne pepper, but it was like a very warm, like it wasn't like uber spicy, but it had like it wasn't cinnamony because it was cayenne pepper, but it kind of had that cinnamon, like soothing kind of. You don't like, or you're allergic to cinnamon?
I'm allergic to cinnamon.
Yeah.
I went into a green room, and when I say all they had, I mean this.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. Like they had to go find me a different. All they had was, I say soda water. I don't know what it's really called, but like seltzer water,
sparkling water,
club soda type water.
Oof.
Sparkling water, and I'm like, you have just like regular bottled water, and they're like, this is. And I'm like, no. Like
that's
just
bougie people, bougie white people.
Just water. You
I don't
got just
understand.
water.
I don't understand.
I think it's gross.
It's disgusting.
I tried to make myself get acclimated to that one time. I just can't do it. I mean, there's some in our staff refrigerator right now. I saw it today.
It tastes sour to me.
I'm like, who's drinking this?
I tell you who, the people in that green room that I was in.
Yeah.
And I said to them, this is gross. And then I went to dinner with those people afterwards, and they ordered that for their drink.
I don't understand. I've tried.
But the flip side is, I used to say I don't understand how people could drink unsweet tea. And now here I am in this stage of my life where I'm watching calories and sugar intake, and I'm drinking unsweet tea.
My mom's drank unsweet tea my whole life, so I haven't been around it. And
I used to think those people were so weird.
Yeah.
I used to think that about hot tea.
And here I am, one of those weird people.
Yeah. You drink hot tea every single day.
Every day.
Yeah.
But my Aunt Joanna used to drink it when I was little. I'd be like, she's so weird. Look at her trying to be British, drinking hot tea.
Yeah.
You know?
So weird.
And now here we are drinking hot tea.
So weird.
Small world. Church is hard, man. Ministry's hard. Keep the faith. Keep pressing forward. All the nasty stuff that happens around you, stay focused on Jesus. Be faithful. One day he'll say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Amen. Stay the course. Love y'all. Peace.